Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of That's Complicated, a podcast where we will talk about the complicated issues such as friendships, relationships, to even mental illness. There's bound to be something you're able to connect with. I will bring experts on these topics to help you work through it and feel like you are not alone in the world. Everyone goes through complicated situations, and we all have to come together to share our experiences. Hello, everyone. Today is a very, very special episode. I'm so excited because today we're going to be talking about starting a business. That's complicated because I researched that a little more than 50% of startups fail in the first 4 years. 19% of startups fail because of too much competition, and another 18% fail because of pricing or cost issues. And I'm here to bring you guys somebody who I admire as an entrepreneur because she has created a business that's well put together and is very excited to share her experience. I met her while I was doing a speech, and so it was very amazing to get to know her. And well, without further ado, I present to you Maria Clara Ospina.
Hi, Evelyn. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast today.
Thank you. Thank you for being here and accepting. I'm so excited to have you. And to kind of start off this whole thing, if you'd like to explain who are you, what do you do, and what are some big accomplishments in your life?
Yes, of course. So my name is Maria Clara Ospina. I am originally from Colombia, South America, and I moved here to the United States, specifically to the Chicago area in around 2010. Right now, I just finished my junior year of college, so I'm going into my senior year of college, and I'm majoring in theater and global studies. I like to tell people that I am an actress, I'm an entrepreneur, and I'm also a human rights activist.
Wow, that's amazing. And she's honestly an amazing person. She's so kind, and I'm so excited for her to share with you guys kind of everything. So how did you start your journey with Kiwami jewelry?
Yes, so Kiwami started last year at around April of 2019, and the journey, I always kind of like when I tell people, everybody just kind of laughs because when people ask me, "Oh, how'd you start? Why did you start?" I always say it because I just love earrings. So Kiwami is a jewelry store, as a jewelry business that we created it in order to create fair wages and jobs for those who create the handmade jewelry in Medellin, which is where I'm from. It really did start because I really love earrings, and I was walking around my college campus just always wearing earrings, and people started asking me where my earrings came from, and I would always just look at them and be like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, they're from Colombia." And they would be like, "Oh, well, that's far away." And I would be like, "Yes, I'm sorry." And then this kept happening like time after time after time until it kind of hit me. I was like, well, why don't I just start like selling these earrings? So then I love making earrings myself, and I wanted to start making them myself when I was like, okay, I'm gonna start learning how to do these techniques and everything. But then I quickly realized that my life is a little hectic. I'm very busy all the time, and I'm constantly doing stuff with theater, like long hours of rehearsals, long hours of work. And my boyfriend, he kind of came up to me and he was like, "I don't really think you're gonna have time to make them yourself." And then from there we were like, okay, let's see what we can do with this. So as a global studies major, I started to look into fair wages and into fair trade, and that's when the idea of fair trade came with Kiwami. And we were like, okay, well, if we're gonna start selling these earrings from Medellin, then we have to create something that's bigger than ourselves. It can't just be we're gonna resell earrings, and that's when Kiwami Jewelry was born, with the idea of fair wages, fair jobs, fair trade, and as well as sharing my love for earrings.
Yeah, kind of put everything all together. That's amazing. So with Kiwami, what is the name? How did you come up with that, and why is that important for you?
Yeah, oh my gosh. So the name came up because, so it started with my boyfriend, and my boyfriend is the other half of Kiwami. We are co-founders of it. So we were sitting there one day, and I said, well, I would really like our logo to be a parrot. And like I say it in Spanish, it's a guacamaya. and I said, I really want a guacamaya to be our logo. So we started looking at it, and actually the scientific name for parrots are macaws. So we were just kind of like playing around with the name macaw, and we're like, okay, what can we do? Mawami, Kiwami, Wawawi. And we just like rearranged some letters around, and if you actually like kind of read it, Kiwami is like macaw, just like rearranged in different syllables, and we just added the I at the end to make it sound more like, like a special like name.
Yeah, well, it's definitely a cute name. I love it.
Thank you so much. And I think the name of my business, or of this business, or any business, is so important because it's your identity. That's the way that people call you. That's the way that people are going to know you for. So it's so important to think of a good name, or think of a name that really, really represents you. And for Kiwami, for example, Kiwami is a name that's like made up by us. It's very, very special for us and to us, and we really treasure it a lot.
Yeah, I bet. That's so important, and I like that you brought that up because I feel like, the business name, it's kind of like your first impression onto everybody. The fact that yours is so unique, and it also sounds really nice and kind of like cute, Kiwami. So that's very important to think about when starting a business.
Yeah, and I think one tip that I wish I would have known before in regards to naming your business, it's to do a little bit more research about what that name is. Even if you think that you made it up and that it doesn't exist, you still need to do research on it, So we had several different names that we liked. One of them sounded very nice and we were so obsessed with, and we really wanted that to be our name, but then we researched it and we were like, oh, these already exist. Even though you think that you made up that name, you still need to make research.
Oh yeah, 100%. To kind of switch the topic, but this is kind of very important with your experience. What are some struggles you had to overcome when starting your business?
Yes, and I love this question because, to be honest, when you're gonna build a business, there's gonna be lots of different types of, I guess, quote unquote, struggles. But for me personally, my biggest struggle was not believing that I could do it. I never believed that I would be a person who could sell things to somebody else, or I would never believe that I would be the person that could actually sell a product or a business or a service to somebody. I always thought that my life was meant to just be an entertainer. I would be an actress and that's it. Then obviously once I started my journey with college, then I discovered a lot of different passions of mine. And then once I started this journey with Kiwami, my biggest struggle was that I didn't believe I could do it. I didn't believe I was meant to be a business owner. I didn't believe I was meant to be an entrepreneur. In fact, I was like, what is that even? I'm never gonna be an entrepreneur. That's for other people. That's not for me. That's not for me as a woman. Unfortunately, I also thought about that, and that was my biggest struggle. And I still, some days I'm like, I don't think I can do this, or I'm not meant for it. But I think that was my biggest struggle, not believing in myself.
Yeah, that's such a good point, because even to this day, I think there's still some difference in a guy wanting to start a business versus a woman, because I know I want to be an entrepreneur when I go to college, but it's kind of like you do have to believe in yourself, and you have to remember that you are capable of doing anything. But I feel like society puts that into our minds of business. It's like a more male dominant career. And even in my own incubator classes, I feel like I'm the only Latina woman in that class. So not only are we women, but we're also Latinas. So it's hard. It really is hard to be even respected and seem like we have good ideas, because we could get taken advantage of, but we have to stand our ground and kind of believe in ourselves, because we are strong and we're freaking hard workers. We get it done and we're super creative.
And honestly, I don't think there's anything that a Latina woman cannot set its mind to and actually not achieve it. We will always achieve whatever it is that we want to. We just the moment that it gets in our head, we go and we get it, and we go and we search for it and we go after it and we fight for it. So I think that's the biggest problem, is that we just don't believe in ourselves. And I think that was my biggest struggle, and I bet that that's a big struggle for everyone else too.
Yeah, because they put it into our minds that we are maybe degrading or we're less capable, and it's not true. So it's kind of super important to understand that and remember that, not let yourself feel discouraged in any way.
Yeah, and obviously there's going to be different struggles that are going to come up afterwards, but you just got to keep on going. As long as the moment that you overcome that first struggle of not believing in yourself, that's the moment that you just keep on going.
Yep, exactly. So I think with your journey and kind of your experience with everything you've done, what is something you suggest someone can do right now if they're starting to think about starting a business?
Yes, so when you start a business, there's this one of my professors in college. He was my international business professor. One day he shared a quote saying that as an entrepreneur, if you don't have anything to solve every day, then you're not doing it right. As an entrepreneur, you're going to have things that you're going to need to solve every single day. But what I suggest, or what I tell people, is that you should never look at those things that you need to solve as problems. Instead, you need to take them as opportunities. Every single thing that comes up to you that seems like a problem, you should look at it as an opportunity, and that's how you jumpstart your business. You continue constantly looking for different opportunities that are going to just make your business grow and just continue going.
Interesting. That's a very good point. That's a very different way to look at it. That's very important to think about. If we don't take those opportunities, it could have become something amazing.
Yeah, and I know that it sounds like a very generalized answer, like it's a pretty big answer, like it's not a micro, it's a macro answer. But the more that I think about it, it's like, if you want to jumpstart your business, you gotta take every opportunity. And I guess to give you a little example of what that means for me, and for Kiwami, and for my boyfriend, his name is Marco. I actually haven't said his name. In the last year, every single opportunity that has come up to us, we have accepted it. So whether it's like setting up a table in our college and putting some earrings there so people could see it, we say yes. Whatever people want to like talk to us about, we say yes. If people want to meet us for coffee in 5 seconds, we say yes, because that's going to jumpstart your business, because that's going to give you more and more opportunities to continue growing and to continue getting your name out there and continue getting the name of your company out there. So Kiwami, now, the more that we do that, the more of the opportunities that we continue taking, the more that people know about us, the more that people know about our name, and the more that people understand that Kiwami is a real deal.
Exactly, and that's what's called connections. I know that connections is the number one thing to succeeding and to creating something big, because when we take the time to get to know someone, to talk to people, to really connect, you create those connections that could potentially get you somewhere really, really great. It's so important for you to actually speak up and talk to people, because that's like the number one thing I feel like is so important when in the business world. Also, like during this whole process, what is one thing you feel like you had to keep in mind in order to keep going? And at any point, we might have times where we feel like we're gonna fail, or we have these times in our lives where maybe something is not going exactly how we want it to go. And so like, what is one thing you kept in your mind during this whole process?
Yes, 100%. I agree with you. Yes, I think you need to trust yourself, you need to trust the idea, and you need to trust the process. So the moment that you believe, you trust yourself, right? We already talked about that, in overcoming that fear that you're capable of doing, to trust yourself in that. But then you also have to trust the idea of your business. So whatever it is that you want to do, so let's say you want to start a makeup line, right? And then you have a very special idea about some type of like makeup product that's going to change the business, or that's going to change the makeup world forever. Whether or not like you're big or small in terms of like business wise, whether you're a big business or a small business, whenever there is a different idea that you want to bring to the table, if you don't trust it, if you don't trust that this idea is like important enough to present to people, then how are you gonna like make people believe in you? Or how are you gonna make people believe in your idea or your business? So you just have to trust that the idea is worth it, and the idea matters, and the idea is like a world-changing idea.
Yeah, that's so true. And I think that, one of the most important things too is kind of like when you have an idea, don't just shut it down right away, because even if it's a big idea, you can always edit it and make it better and make it more realistic. It's more like, yes, you have this big idea, this amazing idea, and then sometimes when we share it right away without thinking about it, we might get shut down. That doesn't mean that it's over, Kind of just take that idea and apply all the critiques that you've heard and take people's suggestions.
Yeah, and I guess to give you an example, Kiwami wise, and what we experienced was like when we started, we had this idea of creating fair wages all around the world. So we wanted to go ahead and tackle the entire world at once. So we weren't just looking at Colombia, we were like, okay, let's look at Mexico, let's look at the Philippines, let's do this, let's do that, artisans from all over the world. And although that's an amazing idea, that's like an idea that you cannot tackle all at once because it's so big. So over the time, we started with that idea and we started with that system, I guess, with that structure of what we wanted to achieve. But over time, we realized that that was a lot bigger than we could handle at that moment. Let's focus on Colombia first. Let's create a change first in Medellin, and then when we actually have made the change that we want to achieve there, then we can look into expanding. So just like you said, once you have an idea, you can edit it later on.
That's perfect, because it kind of goes into like our next question, because we always have to start small, and you definitely started from zero. What is one thing you would recommend when promoting your business? Because I know everyone starts from zero. Nobody knows who you are. That's the next step. Well, you have your business, you have your name, you have your idea, you implement it, you create it, and now how do you promote it? How did you promote Kiwami?
Yes, and I think the best answer that I can give you to that question is that the business has to mean something to you personally. So in terms of Kiwami, for example, we didn't just wake up one day and decided that we were going to sell random earrings, We're like, okay, let's just sell earrings because I don't know, let's just do that. I have been loving earrings for a very long time. I have been making earrings for years, and I have been collecting earrings for as long as I can remember. So earrings to me are something that are a lot more than just an object. So because I myself believe that earrings can change a person's like life, because the moment that you put them on, you smile and you feel so much better, then I can show it to people and I can tell that to people. So I think the number one thing is that the business has to mean something to you. It has to be more than just a money-making tool.
That's really interesting. Kind of you have to like believe in your business in order for others to believe in it.
Yeah, and because I think a lot of times we get too focused on, okay, well, I'm creating a business to make money. And yes, 100%, of course, that's what everybody's trying to do, to create a living wage off of a business, But why do you want to do it? Or what is the reason why you're doing that? I think you need to think about it in that way. It's almost like if you have the opportunity to create the job that you want to work for the rest of your life, or for as long as you can do it, then you have to create that job that you love.
Exactly. Of course, money is like not something, our minds should be set on, because sometimes money can kind of tear us down, and when we forget about why we even started this in the first place. We forget the meaning of it and the whole point of it. So we kind of just fail, kind of like the statistic that I shared in the beginning. A lot of businesses fail because of cost. So I feel like this is something a lot of people want to know, because it's definitely something that we have to know and we have to learn, but it's how much do you invest and how much did you invest into the business yourself?
Yes, and I love this question because when I read it, of course, most people immediately think of the money, but a huge thing that you have to invest is your time. When you're creating a business, you invest probably like 110% of your time into it. And it's so like the opposite from having like a job where, let's say, if I worked at McDonald's and I get paid $8.50 an hour. That's not gonna happen when you first start your business. So when you start your business, you're investing so much time that you're not gonna get paid for a very long time. Why my first answer to that question is that you're investing your time. By the end of it, money is an asset, but workforce and intelligence is what makes your company keep going. But of course, I did want to answer money-wise, kind of like some numbers of what Kiwami went through. I guess our initial cost of the initial products and that we bought, that was $130. So I guess you can say that Kiwami initially, like at the very first like moment, we invested $130 into our first products. So that was the first thing. Then after we worked really hard at it and we worked for a couple months to try like to create some money, and after we had some money, then we realized that we could legally establish Kiwami into like an actual business in the United States. This is a cost that's gonna vary a lot because of the differences of your business, but our establishment cost was around $3,000, and that includes a lawyer, your licenses, the taxes, and if you have like a type of business that's food related, then you probably need like some type of permit. So for us, Kiwami, that was $3,000, but this varies with everyone, and that was to establish it legally in the United States.
So you're saying that kind of there was a lot more to the process than just, starting a business.
Yes, so we didn't, like I said, just the moment that we started, we didn't put out like the $3,000 to make it legal, because of course we didn't know if it was gonna work, and we didn't have $3,000. We didn't know if people were gonna buy earrings. Didn't have just $3,000 to spare to just spend on this. So that's why I tell you that the initial cost was $130, because that was what we started with. So our initial like costs for the products at the beginning. Then after working, and that was probably like around 7 months of hard working into it. So like trying to sell and go on fairs and trying to do as much as we could, and seeing if yes or no, if this was a business that could create like that could become something greater than. And once we had that little bit of wiggle room where we had enough money to establish it, that's when we established it.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, that's very cool. And because I'm definitely like learning and I'm like thinking, but that's so cool how you definitely started from the bottom, and now you're here with like a really nice business. And of course maybe you're gonna want to get bigger and you want more exposure and stuff, and it's kind of a process. And I feel like, so many people, they kind of give up because I think every business, right, there's a point where it doesn't grow, but it doesn't decline. So you feel...
Yeah, it's like a plateau. You kind of stay like in a straight line.
Right. And so I feel like at that point, many people give up. They don't think nothing is ever going to happen. And so they kind of just stop putting the 100% effort they had at the beginning. And that's why it fails.
Yes, and what happens is that a lot of times when people start a business, they think that you are going to put some money in and you're going to hopefully double it, right? You double that money, and then they take out like half of that money and spend it for themselves, and then you're already off. So what we did with Kiwami is, I'm not gonna lie to you, Evelyn, like we are still constantly investing almost everything that comes into us, we invest it right back to the company. And that's kind of like what you need to do at the beginning in order to create a business that's going to work for yourself. And this is it's like, that's why it's so hard to start a business, because if you have to pay rent, if you have to pay for food, if you have to pay your bills, then it's so hard to take that money and just invest it all. It's hard to do. It really, really is hard to do, but I really think it pays off at the end.
And question going off of this, do you currently have a job?
So right now, Kiwami is my job.
Okay.
Yes, so right now I am 100% giving Kiwami all of my job. But I have to be honest, I am a college student, and a lot of my expenses are still within either loans or my family.
Okay.
Yes. So I don't live on my own.
Yeah. It's important to do whatever it takes to keep going. And that just goes to show that you really care about your business and that you're not giving up yet and you're still pushing. That's amazing. That's exactly what everyone should learn, that you have to put in your all. You have to really want to succeed in order to succeed, you know? It's so important. But like, you have to believe in everything.
Yes, and I think everything that you said really speaks to what, like, the essence of what starting a business is. It's a lot of your time, and you're not going to see a lot of money at the beginning. You really are not, but you got to keep going at it and going and going and going.
Yeah, because I feel like that's also another thing that people get, like, discouraged, that, like, they're like, oh, I'm not making enough money, okay, bye. But then that just shows how much you actually cared, you know?
Yes.
What is something you feel like you wished you knew before you started anything?
This is kind of funny, but, well, not funny, but I really wished I knew more about marketing before I began. That I understood more the world of marketing, what actually marketing meant. Because when you have a business, that's really like the priority. You have to figure out how it is that you're going to sell your product or your services. So I wish I would have known more about Instagram, because Instagram is a huge platform for your business. I guess my suggestion to anybody that's listening that is interested in starting a business is to really study about marketing. Take any marketing class that you can. If you are in college or if you're in high school, then try to get into those business marketing classes, or look into more videos and stuff about Instagram, because honestly, Instagram has helped Kiwami so much, and it's a huge marketing tool. So I wish that's what I would have known more. Obviously, there's still a lot of different things that I wish I would have known. Let's say like taxes and all that stuff. That's like a big deal that you have to deal with when you have a business, especially when you establish it legally. You have to pay for taxes and all that stuff. So obviously, I wish I would have known about that too. But I guess that for myself, I think that's something that you learn in the process of it, you know? But marketing is something that you can get started like right now and start to figure out, especially if you're like a younger person and you love Instagram and you're always on social media. Then go ahead and start learning about it and how you can use it as a tool for your business.
Yep. And also, like, marketing, it's like the number one thing, and I feel like everyone should learn marketing if they're going into creating a business. And one thing I learned is marketing is not just posting pictures on Instagram, and it's also not, getting your business out there, but it's marketing for yourself, marketing who you are. I feel like, the face of the company, right? Or like, who are the founders, who created this, is what because if people like you, they're gonna go and look you up. They're gonna go look up your page, they're gonna follow you, and they're gonna probably buy from you, So if you create a really nice, the way that you promote yourself, who you are as a person, your personal Instagram, everything that you are, it reflects your company. If you're this really rude, racist person and you have this amazing company, no one's gonna really want to even contribute to your company. So marketing for yourself as a person, who you are and how you reflect yourself to the world, it's so important.
It is. And actually, everything that you just said reminded me of a point that when you are creating a business, your goal should be to create a community. You want to create a community that follows you, not just for the products that you sell, but for the idea and for the feeling that you give them. So if your entire business is making people feel happy and it's making people feel good and it's actually changing the lives of others. And what I mean by that is like, I don't mean actually like completely changing them, but like making them smile once a day with your post, or making them laugh, or making them feel good, then you're doing the right thing and you're on the right track. You gotta create a community.
That's amazing, and I love that, because someone who really takes the time to actually care about how you're making, like what your company is, what the benefits are, and what you're giving back is so important. And the fact that you focus on fair wages and making sure people that are creating these amazing earrings get what they deserve is so important. And that just shows that you're not just in for the money, and you're not just creating a business without no purpose. There's a purpose, and people like that, and they want to be part of that, which is so important.
Yes, 100%. And for example, for Kiwami, our mission statement is that we value the handmade work of artisans in Colombia while enhancing the confidence of beauty and beauty of women. That's our goal, to see women smile while they're wearing our jewelry, our earrings, but as well as creating an impact and creating a change in the world back in Medellin. That's what we care for. And if you have that statement, if you have that, then you're bound to succeed. If you continue fighting for it, then you're bound to show people that you care for them.
That's beautiful. I congratulate you for doing all of this and for creating something really amazing, because everything is well put together, and I really am inspired by Kiwami and how you make everything super, super nice. Like everything you put detail in, and I've seen that, like even like I've seen posts where you post other people's stories where they have like a little card and you wrote something. Every detail people see. That's what makes the business something.
Yes, totally.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean it. I do mean it. That's what happens when you put meaning into what you do. It reflects it and people see it. What would you say is like the number one thing you've learned during this whole entire journey?
Honestly, Evelyn, that I am capable of doing whatever I set my mind to. If you want to create a business that sells, I don't know, cups, then do it. Because if you set your mind to it and you create a community and you have an actual mission for it, then you're capable of doing it. And that's what I've learned, especially this year, with everything that has been happening, with everything that happened in my life this year. This year was full of, I don't know, crazy opportunities, and you were a part of them a lot. Like in terms of the book, because we actually co-wrote a book together. That's crazy. And I don't know, becoming like public speakers, like all these different things that keep happening, it just really show me. And then Kiwami getting bigger and getting people to actually love our earrings, it just shows me, my goodness, I can do whatever I want. If I want to, I am capable of doing it.
Yep, exactly. Life it's unexpected. We don't know what gets thrown at us, and it's important to remember what made you start this. It's important to always keep that in your mind, the purpose and the why, because it's so important to understand that and always remember it, because that's your go-to whenever you feel discouraged. And I know that if whoever's listening is in like at the edge of wanting to start a business, or thinking of, but they don't feel like they can, you have to believe and get to work. Literally do all the things that you have to do in order to create it, because it's not going to create itself. Yeah, you have to put in the work. It's not going to, if you give this person an idea or something, it's not going to do anything unless you promote it, unless you put in the work, unless you really invest your time, as you said. Yeah, that's very powerful.
Yeah, and there's going to be a lot of times where people don't see the amount of like work that you put into it. So obviously right now, because of the way the world is happening because of COVID, this is my only job, right? But during the year, I actually have other jobs.
But yeah, thank you again for being here, for sharing your knowledge and your journey through all of this. You are an inspiration, an example that people can look up to, which is why I wanted to bring you on here so you could share. And if everyone could go, please check her check her jewelry, Kiwami, and where could they find you?
Thank you so much, Evelyn, for giving me this platform today to speak on behalf of Kiwami and to be able to speak my mind on this topic, and also be able to give Kiwami some exposure and to give my business a little bit of exposure, and that means the world to us. Thank you so much. So where you can find us is at www.kiwamijewelry.com. That's where we have a lot of information about our business. You can shop through that link too, and there's just all sorts of information in that link. So thank you so much.
Yeah, go check her out. Her earrings are really amazing. They are so colorful, and I love big earrings, so definitely a big, they're just so cute. But yeah, that's it, and I hope you guys tune in for the next episode, and have a nice one. Bye-bye.